Do as I said or quit. The conference room fell silent. Every manager looked at Ethan, expecting him to apologize. Instead, the single father quietly closed his laptop. Okay, he said. He stood up, folded his notebook, picked up the small cardboard box from beside his chair, and started packing his desk. People exchanged nervous glances. The CEO smirked, convinced he had just won another power battle. But no one in that building knew why Ethan never argued, or why walking away would cost the company far more than they could imagine. For 3 years, Ethan Brooks worked as a senior operations manager at Hartwell Technologies. He was never the loudest voice in meetings. He arrived early, stayed late, and rarely complained. Most coworkers only knew 2 things about him. He always wore the same old jacket, and every evening at exactly 5:30 he rushed home to his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. After losing his wife to illness years earlier, Ethan had become both father and mother. He packed school lunches, helped with homework, braided hair using YouTube tutorials. His life wasn't glamorous, but it was full of quiet love. What nobody knew was that Ethan had turned down executive jobs at larger companies. He chose Hartwell because it let him spend more time with Lily. To everyone else, he looked ordinary. To the board of directors, however, Ethan was the quiet genius whose systems had saved millions over the past 3 years. Only a few people knew his real value. Unfortunately, the new CEO wasn't one of them. Richard Lawson became CEO only 2 months earlier, young, confident, obsessed with proving he could transform the company overnight. He believed speed mattered more than experience. During meetings, he often interrupted Ethan. "We're not here to play it safe. We need bold ideas." One afternoon, Ethan carefully explained why rushing a nationwide software rollout could create serious customer failures. Richard laughed. "That's old school thinking." Several managers lowered their eyes. Nobody wanted to disagree with the boss. Weeks passed. Richard began giving Ethan impossible deadlines, canceled his team's recommendations, then publicly criticized him. "You've lost your edge. Maybe this company has outgrown you." Ethan never argued. He simply documented every warning in writing. At home, Lily noticed the stress. "Dad, are you okay?" He smiled. "Sometimes doing the right thing isn't the easiest thing." She hugged him. "You always say good people don't have to shout." He kissed her forehead. "That's right." The next Monday, Richard announced a massive launch despite repeated technical warnings. Ethan calmly said, "I recommend waiting 1 more week." Richard slammed his hand on the table. "I don't pay you to recommend. I pay you to obey." The room froze. Then came the sentence nobody would forget. "Do as I said, or quit." A long silence followed. Ethan looked around the room. He saw fear, embarrassment, people avoiding eye contact. Without another word, he quietly began packing. Nobody expected him to actually leave. Richard folded his arms. "So that's it?" Ethan nodded. "I won't stay where professional judgment is treated like disobedience." He handed over his company badge. "Good luck." Within minutes, he walked out carrying nothing more than a cardboard box and a framed picture of Lily. Some employees watched from the windows. One assistant even wiped away tears. By afternoon, the software launched. Everything looked fine for exactly 43 minutes. Then customer systems across several states began failing. Support lines exploded. Major clients demanded answers. Millions of dollars in contracts were suddenly at risk. Richard ordered emergency meetings. "Call Ethan." No answer. Again. Voicemail. Then something unexpected happened. The chairman of the board entered the crisis room. His face looked unusually serious. "I understand Ethan resigned." Richard shrugged. He refused to cooperate. The chairman slowly placed a thick folder on the table. "Did you read his risk report?" "What report?" The room became painfully quiet. The chairman opened the folder. Inside were weeks of detailed analyses, predicted failure scenarios, backup solutions, recovery plans. Every page had been submitted before launch. Every warning had been ignored. Richard's confidence disappeared. Then another surprise arrived. A video call appeared on the large conference screen. It was Hartwell's biggest investor. He looked directly at Richard. "Ethan designed the infrastructure protecting half our enterprise contracts." He personally saved this company twice before. If he leaves permanently, we reconsider our investment. Richard stared at the screen in disbelief. He had fired the one person keeping everything together. That evening, Ethan sat in a small park watching Lily play. His phone rang again. This time, it was the chairman. "We owe you an apology." Ethan stayed silent. "You were right. I know. We'd like you back." Ethan looked toward Lily, laughing on the swings. "I'll only return under one condition." "Name it." "No employee should ever be punished for telling the truth." The chairman agreed immediately. Within 48 hours, Richard was removed from his position pending a board review. New leadership apologized publicly to the entire staff. When Ethan returned weeks later, nothing about him had changed. Same old jacket, same calm voice, same habit of leaving exactly at 5:30, except this time, no one questioned why. Employees stood when he entered meetings, not because he demanded respect, but because he had earned it. Richard left quietly. Ethan never celebrated his downfall. He simply focused on rebuilding the company. Because real leadership isn't about winning arguments. It's about protecting people, even when no one notices. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who speaks the least. Respect isn't measured by titles, expensive suits, or loud voices. It's earned through integrity, consistency, and the courage to walk away when your values are no longer welcome. Have you ever been underestimated by someone who only realized your worth after you were gone? Share your story in the comments.